We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans, to monitor the social media posts and commentary of American citizens, to identify them as vectors of disinformation. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. We are going to turn over these dossiers to the individuals. We know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio revealing the Biden administration's State Department was secretly tracking Americans they believed were, quote, vectors of disinformation. Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Acuna, along with Guy Benson, Lisa Booth, and Joe Concha. This is a brand new hour of the Big Weekend Show. Rubio was referencing the, quote, Global Engagement Center, an office within Biden's State Department that kept these dossiers on Americans they believed were spreading so-called disinformation, even keeping a file on a current Trump administration official. Investigative journalist Michael Schellenberger says he may know which Trump administration official was being monitored by the State Department.
None of us knew that they had files on specific people. By the way, if I had to bet, I bet actually that file was on Robert F. Kennedy Jr., since he was so heavily targeted and censored. That's the kind of thing you would expect from a political operation, or to actually use where that stuff comes from. It comes from CIA operations abroad where they identify persons of interest. The American people need to see these documents.
Okay, so Secretary Rubio shut down the Global Engagement Center last month. And joining us now, live for reaction, is State Department spokesperson, you know her well, Tammy Bruce. Tammy, what can you tell us about these dossiers? And was RFK Jr. the Trump official?
Well, I can't tell you who was targeted. I do know, will remind you what the Secretary said during that cabinet meeting was giving that person a chance to speak up if they wanted to because of privacy issues, and also the trajectory of where things like this, files like this, may go. And so I think what's important, though, is the realization, really, that this bureau, and it was a big deal over the last several years regarding, quote, disinformation, certainly during COVID, and it was ordered to be shut down. The Biden administration was ordered by Congress to shut it down, and what they did instead, Alicia, was to rename it and shuffle people around, and they kept doing it. So when we were speaking, of course, we saw what happened to President Trump. We saw what was going on with the American people, the nature of how certain media was being shut down on what was then Twitter. And it's just a horrible environment. And it's certainly not one that is grounded in what's, the American value system or what people believe the government should be doing, especially in targeting our own citizens because of some imagined ideas that they may be opposed to are somehow misinformation. Of course, the Secretary believes, I think as most Americans do as well, as does the President, that the answer to anything that might be wrong is more speech, is debate, is conversations about these issues. So we have shut that bureau down completely. It's not renamed. We're not shuffling people around. That is ended. And, of course, we're not going to stop there. This is a major issue, and we'll see where this goes. But I think the American people deserve better, and they're going to get better.
Tammy, it's Guy, and it just sort of blows me away here that they'd be doing this in any element of the executive branch of government, but especially the State Department, which is supposed to be doing diplomacy abroad. Very, very strange and disturbing. So hopefully we'll get those answers soon. On to this, because we have a wide array of topics we want to cover with you, Tammy. The Mexican president has rejected President Trump's offer to use American troops to fight the drug cartels. Watch this.
He said, "How can we help you fight drug trafficking? I propose that the United States Army enter to help you." And you know what I told him? No, President Trump. The territory is inviolable. Sovereignty is inviolable. Sovereignty is not for sale. We can collaborate, we can work together, but you on your territory, we on ours.
So, Tammy, is the Trump administration satisfied with that answer? And what level of cooperation do you guys expect from really any foreign government on this issue?
Well, first, I can't speak to conversations that may or may not have occurred between our leaders, certainly of President Trump and any other global leader or of any other country. But what I can say is this, is that Mexico actually has been very helpful. They've been a tremendous ally on the issue of dealing with the border. Keep in mind, one of the first things they did at the beginning of President Trump's term was move their own National Guard to the border. I think it was 10,000 troops to the border to assist. And of course, I mean, this is a dynamic that helps them as well. The secretary, his very first trip was to Central America. There's a recognition that our relationship with countries in our area has to be taken seriously on issues beyond the border. These are issues also about trade, the supply chain, the issues of fentanyl, and the nature of what China is doing and what is moving up through Mexico into our country via a nation like China and other third parties, and also the designation of these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. That is giving us a lot of new tools in our tool chest, and it also can assist Mexico in having a better argument and the nature of how they can deal with the problems in their own nation and how we can help with that as well, simply by having a better relationship with them. But in the meantime, the president of Mexico has been doing a great deal, again, has been a tremendous ally on this front. Again, I won't comment on the nature of what she says. Look, every politician has a constituency they have to address. But what we look for, and I believe what certainly President Trump wants, is a good relationship that helps the United States first. But then, of course, that automatically, as you know, helps every other country. When America is strong, our friends and partners are better off, and their nations become stronger and safer as well.
A strong America is a strong region, no question, Tammy. It's Concha. Great to see you.
That's right.
I want to get your take on this. Hey, last night, Lady Gaga hosted a record-breaking concert in Brazil. There was over 2 million people who were there. But things almost ended tragically as Brazilian police revealed the concert was targeted with a bomb plot by a hate group posing as fans. What intel has the U.S. received on this, and do we face any dangers?
Well, again, there's a lot of things as I've learned. I've, of course, loved being on the panel there and being with Fox for 23 years, where my opinion was what mattered. Here, you know, we're speaking about very specific dynamics, much of which I can't speak to because of the nature of either negotiations or diplomacy issues or what we know and what is appropriate to say. But, you know, obviously, we're glad that was stopped. Lady Gaga had noted, though, that she had no idea that there was any threat until she heard about it from the media. That was, I guess, a free concert, which must have been fabulous. It was the biggest of her career, I believe. But it also speaks to the importance of what President Trump is doing here. In many ways, you know, we can forget about the danger of transnational crime, transnational terrorism in our own country, the nature of what we have to do, yes, regarding the border, back to the previous topic, dealing with cartels, the issue of terrorism, the tempting nature of large groups and events like that, and people who are evil or who want to get attention somehow. But it's something that is clearly recognized by the president as being a fundamental issue, national security, the issue of terrorism, and having a nation that says this is unacceptable while empowering law enforcement. Of course, that is why President Trump and all the issues he was elected on, it was about honoring law enforcement, empowering law enforcement so that Americans can be safer in their own homes. You can go to events in this country and be safe, but that is a constant effort that we work to achieve. And it, of course, is one of what's top in mind, in addition to an economy and all the other things that make America great again. And that's what the president's focused on.
Great. Lisa.
Tammy, Lisa Booth, it's great to see you, my friend. So this morning, President Trump had a strong message for Iran. Watch.
Your administration has had conversations with Iran. Is the goal of these talks limiting Iran's nuclear program or total dismantlement?
Total dismantlement.
That's all you'll accept?
That's all I'd accept. I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon because the world will be destroyed.
This comes as the Iran-backed Houthis launched a missile strike on Israel. Both of the nation's missile defense systems failed to stop the attack. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warning of severe retaliation against both the Houthis and Iran. Tammy, how far, we heard the president there, how far is he willing to go to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon?
Well, President Trump has shown, certainly in his first term and now, well, even through the years leading up to this second term, that he knows what he wants for the United States. The American people were persuaded and understand his commitment to keeping us safe and the world safe, of course, as well. So he's already done things in these. It's just been 3 months. It's been 100 days. He's already gotten Iran to the table. He's gotten Russia and Ukraine to the table. We've working through a ceasefire in Gaza. He's achieved something in the shortest period of time because of leadership. And in this case, and he has said this multiple times, he never takes anything off the table in dealing with a nation like Iran or an adversary, but he wants diplomacy to work. That's been made very clear. He believes it can work. He's optimistic. He wants this to be over, but not like it's been over before. He wants new ideas. He wants it to be enduring. He wants it to be, well, lasting forever. Also for the Iranian people, who are the first people injured by the nature of what that regime does. So I think that he's made it clear. He doesn't want them to have a nuclear bomb. You just heard his statement that there is to be no nuclear framework at all. And that's what they're going to have to deal with. They are in a very bad shape right now with the sanctions, with the nature of Israel having to defend itself against its death squads. So this is the time. And Iran clearly is at the table and understands that. But President Trump knows what he wants, knows what has to be achieved, and he's going to be the one to do it.
Tammy, it's Alicia Acuna again. One more question before we let you go. The president has not been shy about wanting to add Greenland and Canada to the United States. He doubled down on that today.
You are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that. We need Greenland very badly.
Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. But I think it's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
So, Tammy, what options are on the table when it comes to Greenland or Canada?
Well, it is just, as I said a moment ago, is that it would be unwise to take anything off the table while you're still in a framework. With Greenland as an example, he recognizes that, as does everyone else, of its extraordinarily important geopolitical position when it comes to our national security in dealing with Russia and China. China has been eyeing Greenland for a very long time, and none of that has been helpful to us. And I think the president clearly, as he looks at a global dynamic, recognizes the importance of Greenland, and he is making it clear that Denmark understands that and the Greenlanders understand that. But he's also stated, as has Secretary Rubio, that the future of Greenland is in the hands of Greenlanders. But we also are not, we see the problems there if we do not have involvement or a tremendous presence. And that, I think, is what he's driving home.
Tammy, we can't thank you enough for being here for this conversation. We managed to cover so much. It's been a fantastic conversation, so thank you. It's really good to see you.
It's nice to be back with you guys. Thank you very much. And I see the show grew. It got more giant. That's fabulous.
Yes, so big. All right. Thank you so much, Tammy Bruce.
Tammy. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.